Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're going to unpack a truly mind-bending reality about the world we live in. We're looking at the invisible infrastructure that literally holds our modern lives together. It's something silently humming above our heads right this very second, doing a job that is vastly different from what almost everyone thinks it does. So let's just get right into the hidden truth of the global positioning system.
Okay, let's dive into this because it really challenges a core assumption, doesn't it? You use GPS every single day. You use it to find your way to a new restaurant, maybe to navigate around a nasty traffic jam, or to track your morning run. But what if its true purpose, the real job keeping our entire civilization humming, isn't telling you where you are, but rather telling you when you are? I know, it sounds straight out of science fiction, but it is absolute fact.
Section 1. Not just for maps. The grand illusion.
To understand this, we've got to strip away that slick interface on your phone screen and look at the raw mechanics of what is actually being broadcast from space. The big myth here is that GPS is simply a positioning system, but the reality, at its absolute core, it is a timing system. Each and every one of those satellites floating in orbit is carrying incredibly sensitive, ultra-precise atomic clocks. When your phone or your car navigates, it isn't just snapping a picture of where you are, it's actually calculating the microscopic, microsecond differences between time signals arriving from at least 4 different satellites. It's that precise timing that allows the math to figure out your physical location. So really, it's a giant clock, first and foremost.
Section 2. The heartbeat of finance. The invisible scaffolding.
Now, what's really interesting here is how we transition from the cold vacuum of space directly into the high-stakes world of global wealth. Let's walk through the exact life cycle of modern money. Step 1. Global stock markets aren't just groups of people shouting on a trading floor anymore, right? They process millions of computerized trades every single second. Step 2. To prevent absolute chaos, every single one of those microscopic trades requires a flawless timestamp to prove exactly when it happened and in what sequence. And Step 3, this is where our satellites come in. GPS provides the crucial, undisputed global synchronization that gives every financial hub on Earth the exact same time, down to the fraction of a second. It is the absolute glue holding every transaction together.
Just let that sink in for a moment. It's a pretty terrifying reality when you really think about it. Without that invisible, ultra-precise GPS time signal, the digital economy simply cannot function. Banking systems and stock exchanges rely so heavily on that synchronized heartbeat that without it, they'd completely lose synchronization and essentially freeze within seconds. Literally seconds. The global economy as we know it would just stop dead in its tracks.
Section 3. Powering the modern grid, keeping the lights on.
So shifting our focus from digital money to the physical world, the power infrastructure that quite literally powers our homes, our hospitals, our entire cities. Our power grids consist of these massive, incredibly powerful generators that must push electricity into the network in perfect, synchronized harmony. But how do they coordinate that massive dance? Well, that synchronization relies entirely on the nanosecond accuracy of GPS. And it doesn't even stop at electricity. All around you, cell towers and the 5G networks that connect all your devices are pulsating to this exact same rhythm. They need the GPS clock to organize the incredibly dense traffic of invisible data flowing through the air.
And here is the stark contrast. What actually happens when that perfect harmony is broken? Well, if the GPS timing signal is lost and that synchronization fails, those massive generators start pushing against each other instead of working together. The result? Transformers can literally blow up, leading to immediate, cascading, massive blackouts. No power, no cell service, just the absolute silence of a broken rhythm.
Section 4. Einstein's living proof. The mind-bending physics.
And this brilliantly illustrates how we move from everyday power lines right into the realm of deep science. Now, you've probably heard of the theory of relativity, right? It's Einstein's groundbreaking concept about how time and space interact. Most of us just think of it as this abstract theory found in dusty physics textbooks. But this theory is living and breathing in the everyday function of every single GPS satellite. Literally, without Einstein's math, the timing falls completely apart.
Let's break down exactly how these two competing physical forces are acting on the satellites right now. First up, we have special relativity. Because these satellites are zooming around the Earth at incredibly fast speeds, time actually slows down for them relative to us down here on the ground. But wait, there's a counterforce. General relativity. Because these satellites are orbiting so far away from the massive gravity of the Earth, they experience far less of a gravitational pull. And in lower gravity, time actually speeds up. So you've got speed slowing time down and low gravity speeding it right back up. It's like a giant cosmic tug-of-war.
So when you combine those two massive forces of the universe, what's the net result? Well, it all comes down to this number right here, 38 microseconds. Because the effect of the lower gravity is actually stronger than the effect of the high speed, those atomic clocks on the satellites actually run exactly 38 microseconds faster per day than the clocks here on Earth. Now I know, that is a tiny, tiny fraction of a second, but in the world of GPS, it is massive.
And honestly, this is my absolute favorite fact to share at a cocktail party. If the engineers didn't program the satellites to artificially correct for that 38 microsecond time warp created by the laws of relativity, the entire system would drift almost immediately. Without that constant mathematical correction happening in the background, your GPS location would be a staggering 10 kilometers off course in just 24 hours. Think about that. You'd ask to be routed to the local grocery store and end up 2 towns over. Crazy, right?
Section 5. Our vulnerable silent clock, the Achilles heel.
So, we have established how utterly reliant our financial system, our power grids, our cell phones, and our maps are on this invisible scaffolding. But there is a terrifying complication here. This is the ultimate Achilles heel of modern civilization. The GPS signal traveling from space to your phone or to a bank server is incredibly, astoundingly weak. It's literally described as being weaker than the light of a single light bulb shining from 12,000 miles away. Let that picture form in your mind for a second. That incredibly faint signal is the single thread holding our modern world together.
And because the signal is that weak, it's incredibly fragile. It's highly vulnerable to malicious activities, like jamming, which blocks the signal entirely, or spoofing, which actually tricks receivers with a fake signal. It's completely at risk during major global conflicts, basically acting as a primary target. And it isn't just human threats either. This weak signal is entirely susceptible to natural disruption from powerful solar storms that can just completely wipe out the frequencies.
So, the crucial point is this. Losing the GPS signal wouldn't just mean we have to dig out those old paper maps again. Losing it would literally leave modern civilization blind and deaf. Think about it. No stock trades, no cell service, failing power grids, and just a sudden total collapse of the invisible timing that orchestrates our lives.
So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. If losing this system leaves modern civilization blind and deaf, what actually happens to your world, your daily routine, your life, if that invisible pulse simply stops tomorrow? It kind of makes you look at your phone a little differently, doesn't it? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you next time.